this kicked off. So I know, Mr. LaJoy, you talked a little bit about yourself, or a little bit about Fact.
I don't dispute you.
But if you can kind of both of you, so this question goes to both of you. Could you start and tell us a little bit about yourself, your market, and how you traditionally grown the business that's growing?
Yeah, that felt pretty weird. You want that?
That be got it or is it, you know?
Look at that. It sounds a little weird, but I'm Brother Eric Brown, the owner of Brown Brothers Realty, residential, commercial brokerage. I've been in the business 24 years. I started out in 02, to doing homes. I was a finance guy in the car business. Here you go. Part of that. Closing. And so getting the homes. And the first year in, I'm helping families, and I kind of like the money. So I in 03 got appointed as Senior Vice President of Mortgage Planners and Funding Inc. Went on to run that for 9 years, built it up to $50 million a year or so. In 08, everybody started going to jail. So I started studying real estate law in 03. I went to law school in the military, didn't finish, no fault of my own. But I'm in a brokerage on the same discipline I fostered in the military. I'm very detailed, diligent, and disciplined. And it's for the people. It's never money. And so with that lies my success. So without further ado, what happened? COVID happened. And what are you going to do? Rolex dries up. And so, there had to be some shifts and adjustments. We built this company, and we're going strong. And then, technology collided, and we're there.
Thank you for that. So same question, Mr. LaJoy.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I was born in a little village in Africa, and I remember when I was growing up, you have a little loose, nothing, little money, water at home, and I had to go to the dream big. I was just my mom and myself, and I remember I used to share ADU as a sweet dwelling unit with my mom and just my mom and myself. One day, my uncle asked us to leave. It was village. So anyway, long story short, could write a book about it, and I went perfect. Okay. When I remember, I used to listen to shortwave radio, and I used to listen to Voice of America, right there. There's no electricity, nothing, but I'm listening to Voice of America using, a battery, okay? But I went to school, I walked to school, and you don't even have a bike when you walk into school, okay? But you're determined, you receive me, okay? So I know my mom, your mother's going to evict you from a property, I'm going to build something for you, okay? So I studied very hard. So I graduated from that elementary school. I went to high school, okay, and basically I worked very hard. And I got a scholarship to study radio, film, and television in England. So the Cameroon government sent me to England to study radio, film, and television production. So I did, graduated. Then I was doing my master's degree in international relations and economics. That's how I came across the 4 dragons of East Asia, Taiwan, Singapore, South Korea, Hong Kong. I was very intrigued by that. So I got these little tiny countries in Asia doing very well, way better than African countries. Okay, so I went to Taiwan. I intended to be there in Taiwan for 1 year to do a PhD. The government said, come back home, because you need a PhD to produce television. So I didn't go back home because I became so in love with computers. At that time, 72% of all computers were manufactured in Taiwan. 72% of all computers were manufactured in this little state. This little country that's the size of the state of Ohio. I was amazed by that. So my 1 year became 7 years in Taiwan. But it was I speak Chinese, okay? So because of technology, that's how I ended up in Silicon Valley. So after 7 years over there, I told them I'm about to leave. They gave me a better job, okay? They made me global manufacturing manager, good supply chain. So, but then I wrote my first book called Black in Taiwan. That did very well. I wrote the book in 1 weekend and it did very well. Okay. And they said, Paul, why are you leaving? I got everything. Because of that. A book I wrote in 1 weekend, it propelled me to different levels. I'm on television, I'm on newspapers and stuff. But people, now, Paul, everything, the sky's the limit for you. Why are you leaving? I didn't know. But I came here, they say, okay, we'll give you a job in Silicon Valley. As I came to Silicon Valley. I bought my, okay, they asked me, how much you want to get paid? I said, $52,000. $52,000. I didn't know anything. I thought $52,000 was big for me. So I came in, I came to flea market. Oh my goodness, I can't, $52,000 is nothing. So guess what? I bought my house, my first house in Manteca. Oh, nice house in Manteca. And 5-bedroom, 3-car garage and all that stuff, with a swimming pool, really nice. But the commute was killing me. The commute was terrible. And that time, Manteca was a small village. They didn't have a stadium, they have it. So one day I went home, and there are no restaurants. Restaurants are closed at 9 o'clock. So I'm watching something on television, and I saw Carlton Sheets. Carlton Sheets talking about the fine houses around the country, no money down. I said, wow, that sounds very interesting. So guess what? I bought a set of CDs, okay? And from that day on, my car became a university on wheels. So I'm driving on 580, and I'm listening to this thing profusely, okay? And then, guess what? I became a real estate agent. And 2005, that was 2005, I made more money in half a year than I did for the entire time working in Silicon Valley. So I thought, I was so in love with real estate because it took me everywhere. So when you work in a cubicle, you're just in that cubicle. But real estate agent, you're taking all the, and then my clients, my colleagues. But boy, you have the real estate license. Go show me properties. You show them properties, they're buying cash. I said, this is fun. So I left tech. So I left tech. I had no idea what's happening out there. So I left, and guess what happened? As soon as I left, all my clientele list dried up. I didn't know what to do. And what happened? 2007, the market tanked. I was like, what am I doing? Now I have to go back. That's it. Or maybe now I have the California American English account. I could go back to China or to Taiwan and start something like that, start making money from Canadian one. But I didn't do it. So when the going get stopped, the top get going. What's happening right now? I thought the banks are the key players. So do this. You have to always re-engineer yourself. So I started doing what they call PPOs, broker price opinions. And guess what happened? 2009, when there was attrition in the industry where everybody's leaving, guess what? That was when I had to grow my firm. Okay? My company grew by leaps and bounds, but people are just joining. I was getting all these assets. I was getting assets in places like Vallejo. I didn't know what Vallejo was. I had no idea what Vallejo. I got 6 properties in Vallejo, but I don't know what it is. Right? So that's I grew by leaps and bounds. And then 2010, everyone wanted to join doing the REOs. That's why I stepped out and started investing in real estate. 2011, who remembers what they call Occupy Wall Street? There was this thing, Occupy Wall Street 2011. So we said, okay, we got to do this. We must always re-engineer yourself. So we went to bail with banks. Instead of you diligent the market with distressed assets, why don't you do this? Go to bed with us. So we are going to buy your assets, and they're not going to do derelict. So we'll buy your assets, fix them up, and your assets will be the best we can properties on the block. And then we work with cities. Hey, the cities will do the first time we'll buy down payment assistance. So you're buying the house from us. We're buying from Wells Fargo and Chase for less than $200,000, maybe $150,000. We'll fix up, okay? And they'll put it on the market. And you, the first time we'll buy, you're going to buy this property from us, no money down. And guess what? Now it's a win-win. It went for the cities, it went for the banks, no back PR and stuff like that, right? And then the market dried up, that market dried up again, 2013, 14. And that's where in 2017, I started the money market. And the money market, it was basically, it's a mortgage company. So now going back to those guys, how can you make the local rich people, like all these people now, their values grew by leaps and bounds. How can we make them, how can we refinance them so that they can invest in more other properties? And that's what I did. And then fast forward 2025, that's when I started the urban villages, and I think basically community, right? And I think, we happily evolved many times also.
And there's
There's a book for that. There's a book for that.
one of the best stories I'd ever heard. Give it up.
Go up for channel for that. Audi. For that, that's.
Give it up for these panelists sharing their information and wisdom in this community. In this next session, so this is one panel. So give it up for our very first panel, y'all.
And I just wanted to mention that as we were preparing for today's workshop, fireside chat panel, we convened all of our panelists to get to know each other. Because again, we're raised, we're community-based, investment-based. And so we had a set of questions that we wanted, but we also had support from our folks. So this is a question that she passed along to us, and it is, the middleman requires coordination across multiple stakeholders, capital partners, CDFIs, municipalities, and community organizations. Who is responsible for bringing these groups together, and what does effective convening look like in practice?
Thank you for that question. I did brainstorm that question with AI. And then the first thing, two things I want to say, but it's tied to relationship. Like, we should all have a relationship with AI, right? I feel like I heard someone say they go to bed with AI, they wake up with AI. And AI should then begin to understand it as the way that we flow of our communication and really how we prompt it, because the more detailed we are, the better feedback we're going to get. And we don't have a patience and the seriously to do that, it's not going to give us the right outcome. But another thing, we serve as a convener because we have a very specific niche, given that we are value-centric banking and finance. And so we're not the bank, we're the bank for change makers, but we don't do or nor need to do everything, but we do act as a convener. And so building relationships like in this room, all these folks and these stakeholders come together with different levels of expertise, different experiences, different needs. And many of us are often focused on achieving a common goal, but we're not doing it collectively, right? So in our organization, we take a lot of pride in being a convener and bringing stakeholders together to achieve a common goal. So whether it be a development project, whether it's it be a CRA initiative for us as like deploy capital into a certain community, it focuses on doing that through convening and fostering meaningful relationships. And it is, and also work beyond the transaction itself, because once the transaction is done, the relationship should not be, completed. That should just be the very beginning. And so we really pride ourselves in going beyond banking, being a convener, and focusing on tangible outcomes, not just, getting on the mic and how you rate lip service, but actually having some deliverable, and then being accountable for our partners to come back and do an assessment and a however evaluation to see what do you actually deliver, how do we actually create community, and what capital will be able to get it out to the right scores. So I'll stop there, but I'll use what I have because I hope you agree.
Wow, what a question. At the end of the day, I think it's important for each of us to participate in your associations, in your community development organizations, and your local community in order to develop what's right in front of you. Eagle, like I'm on the board of National Minority Contractors, NAMAC. Bruce Duran is the ex-president of NAMAC. And that's all about building small business, building contractors, and building the opportunity for us to make money and earn a living. As far as real estate development, we actually have a tool where the community, including you, can invest in our program, in our projects. And that's using AI. That's using real world assets. That's using the opportunity to purchase a token on the blockchain and investing that dollar in the project in East Oakland, or the project in Atlanta, or the project down the street from your community. So go look at wingsofelagofund.com. Nawe Tolube has a handout if you're interested. But I think our community really needs to get involved in these developments, and that includes investment. And I think it's utilizing technology and utilizing the blockchain. This allows you to do it. So that's all. Thanks.
You good? Like, there is a saying that we are the ones you've been waiting for. So all again, our answers, our solutions, our resources, our strategies are found within the midst of the body. So our next question. Our next question is, how are developers and capital partners ensuring that projects, especially in historically underserved communities, deliver both financial feasibility and long-term community benefit?
I can't take credit. I would love to hear your perspective, giving, your involvement with affordable housing and meta.
So in that case, it took great and I knew also to be like culture zone in East Oakland. It took the champion with few community-based organizations to come together and say, hey, let's create a paradigm in development. I think that collaboration allowed them to leverage the funding for Blue Ring and Silicon Valley owns for $15 million all the way up to $200 million. And then once they had that, they were able to start acquiring parcels and then plan the development. In San Francisco, it was a little different. We took a little more organized route. As I mentioned, Mel was a service-based organization who got into doing development. Well, we had to create a couple of bond initiatives to create affordable housing, which had occurred in the Mission District for years. So with that political organizing movement, we then were able to secure funds with. From that, we did strategic partnership. That has always partnered with a larger development partner, always at 50%. They were able to bring the resources and then identify the parcels to be developed in your community. So it was a community organizing that sort of led to their ability to do the development and occur real fast.
I'm not moderator. Thank you. So critically important. We talked about amalgamated so much tonight, but really, as a speaker, I think about some of our 4 values, which are centered around collective action. And this idea that we really don't do anything alone. And I think that traditionally, many in this society, that's the way we've been kind of trained, cultivated. But that doesn't necessarily work. That's not the greatest option for us to achieve success. Maybe one or a few of us can, but not the entire community. And so I think collective action is a big part of that. The part you can develop keys and going to aspirate through together and making sure that we're being transparent about who we are, what we do, what we can't do, what our challenges are. And I work with a lot of mission-aligned organizations, nonprofits, and such. And when I got to Soul Impact Day, I noticed that there were a lot of silos. People, again, working for a goal that is parallel but not doing that together. And so I think that we really have goals. I mean, you will hear me talk about it a lot because I think that's one of the fast measures to shift and start to be work-led success and start to see the outcomes that we want to shift more rapidly. And so we can engage technology to do that, but we can not only get that human connection, discernment that we have, and then going back to build a relationship. It's all crazy key and all aligned there together.
Yeah, I think we also, as developers, we really need to get involved in the building of these buildings, of this community. If you grew up watching that site and when this big building gets built, you're not working on it, something's wrong. So we need to work on our own product in our community. look, these buildings and all of this does not pencil right now. Building materials and labor is out of control. They don't pencil. So what we have to do as developers is find other streams of income in that development in order for it to make sense. For instance, in the commercial and parking decks, we now are looking at putting battery systems, solar, sustainable power on site to literally take that building off the grid. Compute. This thing called AI needs what? It needs lots of computers. And so we can have computer systems and compute to incorporate with our urban, our downtown developments. That's a wonderful thing. And that adds another layer of revenue that could help that product work, that could help that building pencil. It's all about community. Now in our community, we need these high-tech jobs. We need the ability to work in this labor force in the future. So I say, let's embrace AI and let's train ourselves to work in these data centers and these compute centers, cross-connect, broadband, all of these IT things that are out here. We need to make sure we develop in our buildings. Community first, you should have the first job. You should invest in that building, utilizing tokenization. So that is the new model. See, I can't go to the Wells Fargo or even your bank to get a loan because the site I work on is contaminated. So when the phase 1 environmental comes back contaminated and the phase 2 environmental comes back contaminated, they say, call us when it's clean, right? Well, I say, let's go ahead and develop this site because, first of all, it's the best location. Number one, the gas station on the corner, you tell me a better location than that. Number two, we can dig up that big old hole, and in the underground, we can put compute. We could put battery systems. We could put solar. See, so we just have to get a little bit creative here in order to make this type of thing work. So thank you.